So right now we're moving on to the second portion of our event, and in a minute I'm going to hand over to our speaker, Sarah Dawkins. So Sarah works with Friends International, which is an organisation that works with international students all over the UK. And today she's here to talk to us about finding security in a COVID-19 world. We're really happy to have her here today. So I'm just going to hand over to her now.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm currently living up in the beautiful northwest of England. I've spent COVID-19 in lockdown with my mum and stepdad, which has actually been really fun. I work with a charity that works with international students across the UK, and it's really nice to be with you today, although I'm not with you. It's weird, isn't it? It's like we're together, but we're not together. I personally cannot wait for the time that I can go to a friend's house or go to a Globe Cafe and just sit down and talk to people without having to try and work out whether or not I'm too close. But that day is not yet here, so I'm thrilled that I've been able to join you in this way today. Now, security in a COVID-19 world. Well, firstly, COVID. It's a word that just a few months ago, I don't think I'd ever said. I don't think any of us had. And now it seems like it is the answer to every question. How's your work going? Well, you know, COVID. How's your family? Well, you know, COVID. Okay, we'd probably use more words, but COVID-19 has disrupted everything that we class as normal, hasn't it? And so it's a word that brings up feelings of insecurity, uncertainty, of just, well, not knowing what's next. The 2020 I am living in is not the 2020 that I expected or planned. And I think that's the case for all of us. 2020 for me has revealed lots of areas in which I feel insecure. Everything I thought I knew or expected has changed. And change always leads to us feeling insecure, doesn't it? That loss of control, not knowing what's about to happen. It's unsettling. I wonder though, if we ever really do feel secure, even in a world before COVID-19, what is security? Now, I think all of us will have a different image in our mind when we hear that word. Maybe a security guard, maybe a policeman, maybe airport security, maybe something completely different. Thoughts of home and the security that being close to family and friends gives us. Maybe a cherished teddy from your childhood who always reassures you with nostalgic memories of your childhood. Maybe the whole idea of security is just something that you would love to feel. It seems alien right now. Maybe you'd say that you've never really felt secure. Times of change always bring out insecurity in us. And we all know what times of change feel like, don't they? Can it only be 3 months ago that we were going to lectures and travelling around like nothing was wrong? And yet now we are scattered across the globe, far from the place we study in, nor maybe not even knowing how we can return home. Maybe you are stranded. Maybe you're not in your home country. Maybe you're longing to be around your friends and family and familiar things. So would you say that you feel secure at the moment? Even in normal times, we rarely, if ever, would answer that way, would we? We'd say, how are you? Well, tired, hungry, lonely, sad, angry, but not secure. But is that because we don't feel secure, or is it just something that we don't talk about? Well, I think either way, we can all agree that we all want to feel secure. And feeling insecure is never something we set out to do as an aim in and of itself, do we? It's often the side effect of our aims and life plans, but it is never the aim. So do we feel secure in today's world? Not just in our own lives, but in the big picture. Not just in COVID-19 times. I definitely feel way more insecure than normal at the moment. But do we ever feel all that secure if we're honest? I'm not sure that many of us do. We know there's insecurity all around us, don't we? There is political instability in countries both near and far that lead to many feeling insecure. There's job insecurity, there's environmental insecurity. What will happen to the planet in the next 10, 20, 100 years? And then there's pandemics. But there's also insecurity much closer to home. Friendships and relationships can often feel insecure. We can feel insecure in ourselves even. Do you know that feeling of, I'm just not good enough, I don't really belong, I don't fit in? You know, maybe you've heard this saying or thought it yourself, if only people knew what I was really like, then they wouldn't want to be my friend, or they wouldn't trust me, or employ me, or date me, and so on. We're increasingly insecure in our own skins. Even sat here in the safety of my parents' spare room, there's something that says, why should these people even listen to me? Maybe that's not you. Perhaps you are really confident. In that case, I'd want to ask, what is your security in? And is it really secure? Maybe you're thinking, okay, Sarah, I get it. That's me. I'm insecure, but it's just me. No one else really feels like that. Well, I can tell you that there's at least 2 of us on this. And from conversations I've had with some of my friends, I am confident that it is more widespread than you would ever guess. We are really good at hiding our insecurity. Take social media, for example. What do you post? Now, it doesn't matter what platform, Facebook, WeChat, Instagram, TikTok, it doesn't matter which of those, but how do you treat it? I had a look at what I've been posting recently throughout lockdown. And my last social media post was on Instagram and was a photo of me with my mum, which, thanks to the magic of recording this, I can show you now. Now, you look at this picture, you can see it's a bright sunny day. We're smiling, sunglasses on, it's clearly warm. We're warm enough to not need a coat, which in England is warm. And I think we look quite happy. And we were. Hopefully, if you saw that photo, you'd say, oh, that looks like you had a really nice day together. And it was partly true. That's, that was nice. But what it doesn't show is the bad things of that day, the argument that we had later on. What's this to do with security, you ask? Well, it's what we choose to portray. I don't post the bad things, the things that could make me look bad. Well, that argument I mentioned, that was my fault. I'm not putting a nice filter on it, but I do on the things that make me look good. I want my Instagram followers to think that I am great. I am a person worth knowing and following. That gives me some security. But the only problem is, it's fleeting, because as soon as my Instagram followers see me in real life, they'll realise that that's not the case at all. My skin does get spots. I do have a few grey hairs poking through, and I can be known to cause an argument. My life isn't just a series of picture perfect moments. So we can't find security in social media, but it is where we want to show our secure, perfect looking lives, it seems. Because any security we get from social media is fleeting. That means there's more pressure to keep on and keep on posting. We create these perfect looking lives in part to hide our insecurity, because ultimately we all crave security. That feeling that you're safe and nothing bad can happen to rob you of it. Now, maybe the best example for many of us is that feeling secure is hopefully we all had it as children, of getting in to a cosy, familiar bed and knowing that you're safe and nothing will happen to you. And here's a slightly crazy thing. Even people who have sadly never known security like that in their lives still long for it. A friend of mine did not know that security, doesn't know that security, and yet it's the top thing that she looks for. It's as though we're created for it and we're meant to be secure at a basic human level. So if that is the case, if humans are meant to be secure, well, where can we find it? Well, I think we tend to look for it in ourselves, make ourselves the best that we can be, and we can earn and achieve security. We know that we can't trust the world to be secure for us. Governments and people will fail us, but we can focus on ourselves. I wonder if the two places we're tempted to look are education and family. Both are good. I don't think either can give us unfailing, lasting security. Firstly, education. Now, in the West, we seem to think that education is the answer to any problem, whatever it is. But part of the problem is that there is always someone better, isn't there? However hard we work, we're not secure. Now, there are people who are world experts or number one in their class, but that's rare. And even if you are number one in the class or a world expert in something, well, that doesn't mean you can sit securely, does it? There is always someone looking to take your spot. But maybe you're thinking, but Sarah, education leads to jobs. That's why we get educated, so we can get a good job and support ourselves and our family. And yeah, I take that, that is true. But is there even security in jobs? Being well educated doesn't necessarily lead to a job, does it? I don't know the stats for each of the countries that you represent, but here in the UK, 5% of graduates are unemployed after graduation. That's thousands and thousands of people. And I think it'd be fair to say that some of the 95% who are employed are probably not employed in the job that they really want to do, the one that they've been studying for. What if, even after being highly educated, we end up being made redundant in the midst of a global pandemic, when there are no other jobs to apply for? What will that do to our security? Okay, so secondly, what about family? Now, I want to say, I really think that Westerners have a lot to learn from other cultures when it comes to family. When I talk to my friends from Asia, I am challenged at the way in which they honour and care for their family. And not just mother and father, but brother, sister, aunt, uncle, cousin, great aunt, grandparents, any family relationship you can think of. And often that is a place of real security for them. If you're part of a family group that will care for one another, be there for good and bad, meet the demands of one another, surely that's security. And I think it is in so many ways. Knowing that there is an extended group of people who share values and beliefs with you, who have been there for you and pledged to be there for you in the future. The West has got a lot to learn about how families should function and care and be there for one another. But we know, don't we, that family doesn't always work, that there's breakdown, there's mismatch of expectations. Honouring your parents can mean giving up on your dreams. What then? Well, maybe it's your friends you turn to. I am really thankful for some fantastic friends who are generous with their time and money, and I have fun with. I enjoy being with them, and they have been there for me when I've needed them countless times. But there are times they've let me down. That's the reality, isn't it? The same as with families. However much we want to be there for people and how much we want to support them, we are limited and we cannot do all that we would like to most of the time. So family is good, friendships are good, but ultimately humans will always disappoint us. We know that we're not capable or able to be all that we would like to be, to care for people the way we would like to, or be there when they need us. So it makes sense that the other people will eventually let us down in that way as well. So where can we look? If we can't find it in ourselves or the world around us, where can we turn? Well, we need something bigger than us, don't we? Bigger than a country, bigger than a government, bigger than a continent, bigger than our planet, bigger than a pandemic. We need someone to come from outside the mess that our planet is in and step into it. And that's exactly what the Bible tells us about Jesus, that he, fully God, came into our world that has insecure politics, insecure future for the environment, relationships that are far from secure, and to people who are insecure in themselves. Do you see what each of those insecurities have in common with each other though? Politics, environment, relationships, and ourselves. Humans. Each of them have human failures at their hearts. And that shouldn't be a surprise to us, should it? If we look at ourselves honestly and fairly, we know that we're not what we would want to be. We know that we don't have the answers. Doesn't sound like great news, does it? But this is actually the good news of the Bible. Because there is someone who has stepped into our mess. Someone who isn't messy, who is good and kind and generous, and is able to deal with our mess. Jesus. Perhaps you're surprised to hear about Jesus in this way. Before now, you thought he's a prophet and maybe a nice guy, a fictional character. Maybe you've never heard about him before. But what if the Jesus that we meet in the Bible had good news for you? And not just you, but your friends, your family, your community. What if there was real security to be found in this world in the person of Jesus? You're thinking, Sarah, you're from the West. Jesus is a Western creation. Western religion doesn't apply to us. But what if this isn't a Western religion? What if it is the only answer to our shame, our guilt, and our fear? Because that is the claim the Bible makes about Jesus, that he is for all people. He has come to rescue us from our mess, cover our shame, take away our fear, so that we can know security eternally. And that it isn't just humans he's come to fix, but the whole of creation. There's a verse in one of the books of the Bible called Hebrews, which says this: we have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. It enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain where our forerunner Jesus has entered on our behalf. An anchor. That's stable, isn't it? That's something we can trust in. Anchors keep boats in the biggest storms stable. And that is the hope on offer to all people through Jesus. A hope that is stable and secure. Because we can't sort out our mess ourselves, can we? We try and we fail. Today's news is full of stories showing we're not able to do it as humans. We need someone who isn't part of the mess to come and rescue us from that mess. And that's what Jesus does for us. He has come to offer everlasting life, acceptance, and security. Not because there's something amazing about me or you, but because he loves us. Whatever mess or insecurity you find yourself in right now, he loves you. Now that gives security. Not only has God himself made it possible for us to know him, to come to him, to be his child, to be truly known and accepted in the midst of mess, not needing to put a filter and hope that people will like it, but he loves you. He knows you really and truly, and he loves you. That's ultimate security. But it might feel painful. We have to give up finding security on our own, but we have a much more hopeful and better lasting security with Jesus. Because you see, the thing is that Jesus does know what we're really like. We no longer need to fear being found out or thinking, if only they knew what I was like. Jesus does. He gives freedom and identity and security by being in relationship with him. Not because we're worthy, but because he has done everything for us. Isn't that freeing? And I think this is so important in the midst of a global pandemic more than ever. The world feels so insecure. But there is security to be found. Security that will last. Security that won't fail you, let you down, forget about you. Security that you can't be replaced. And it's all in Jesus. Security may feel far away, but it's on offer to each and every one of us. Jesus has come to make that known to us. And I'd really encourage you to find out more about that. I'm sure the guys will have some suggestions in a minute of particularly where you could look. But one place that you really can't help but look is looking at a gospel, one of the stories of Jesus's life, and read what he's like, how he treats people, how he interacts. And yeah, I think you'll be intrigued by who Jesus really is. Thanks so much. It's been lovely to be with you, and I hope you will have a great rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you so much for the talk, Sarah. You're right, how wonderful it is to know that God is our anchor and our saviour during these times of insecurity. So we've come to the end of the event. If there's anything else you'd like to think about, if there's anything you want to pick up on that Sarah talked about, please fill in the Google form that's going to be somewhere in this post, and someone will get back to you really quickly. Even if you just like someone to chat to, actually, that would be so great. We'd love to hear from you. We'd like to hear your thoughts as well. Or you could also ask the friend that's invited you along. Maybe ask them any questions you have about Christianity, or even pick up a gospel to read together. That would be so great. Yeah, so that's it. That's all we have for today. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you taking time to be here. Bye.